On PM Express tonight, a strike action that has led many pupils in junior and senior high schools out of classes today, even though many of them have exams to write. It is a teacher's strike that is now being labeled as a sabotage of the government. And there's a key question there, of course, that we also need to explore. Are the teachers really justified to call this strike? We're going to look into their grievance and also look at the unprecedented nature of this. Normally, you have one of these teacher unions going on strike at a time. For the very first time, we're having all three unions on strike at the same time. I don't recall when in the last 2 decades this happened and played out exactly like this. Not the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAGRAT, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, and the Concerned Teachers Association all calling a united front on this, on strike at the same time when students are just about writing exams. And it took effect today, and as we've been learning all day, the students have been turned away as the, of course, end-of-term exams approached. Some of them are beginning tomorrow and Wednesday as well. They seem to have chosen the timing quite well for maximum impact. Now, it's all a struggle over salary arrears with, from what we understand, 1,000 to 120,000 teachers affected. And this is where the fight really is. Now, the GS has been reacting to this, and they've expressed shock at the decision to strike. Why? They explain that the 87,000 of the affected teachers have already been paid as of September 2019, which it says represented some 95% of the teachers affected. And they believe if this is the fact, if these are the facts on the ground, why are the teachers still insisting that they have to embark on the strike? Because if only 5% of the teachers are affected, why should you make the kids, the children, suffer because a tiny minority of teachers still have the salary arrears yet to be addressed? The Education Ministry have also stepped in today, and they even go further. They are not only shocked, they accuse the teachers of political sabotage because they believe they have absolutely no justification whatsoever to call this particular strike. We'll get into that, and there's a few justifications that they've pointed out tonight, the Education Ministry, to back their claim, including a meeting that they claim the teacher unions were about to have with the National Democratic Congress, which they've called off because of the strike. They pointed out to say there may be some political motive behind the decision to go on strike at this time. Now, the teachers have denied the claim, by the way, that this is all part of a grand scheme to sabotage the government. They say, well, until every single teacher is paid, they will remain at home. The classrooms will remain inaccessible to the students. In fact, in some parts of the country, national service persons are now being asked to go into the classrooms to teach. Some of them themselves say they won't do it. And so it's a pretty much a crisis situation for the government. So the key question remains tonight: is the strike really justified? That's what we're trying to unearth tonight as we speak to the teachers themselves, hear from government, go to Parliament as well, and look at some of the documentation that we've cited on this very important matter that affects your children. Stay with us. After the break, we'll try and unravel, really, if this is justified and what can be done to get the teachers back to the classroom. In the studio with me tonight is the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, is Daniel Afedu. Daniel, thank you very much for your time on PM Express.
Thank you.
Joining me via phone is Peter Nochukotoy. He is a ranking member on the Education Committee. And the Education Committee says that tomorrow they would want to meet the various parties in this, in an attempt to resolve this. We'll also hear from the Education Ministry shortly. But remember, this is about our children, fundamentally. in both the basic and senior high schools. Watch what happened today when our reporters went around just to assess the impact of the strike, which started this morning.
On Thursday, December 5, over 300,000 first and second cycle school teachers across the country said they will not go to work from Monday, December 9, over the failure of government to pay the legacy arrears due members between 2012 and 2016. The unions, made up of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the Ghana National Association of Graduate Teachers, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, announced their decision at a press conference in Accra. During a visit by our news team, many of the schools were without teachers. Students were seen loitering on school compounds, while others were seen chatting and studying in groups. Although some national service teachers have taken over some of these classrooms, some students are still not happy.
That the teachers are on strike, and right now we are about to write our exams, and some of the topics we are not yet done with it. So it will have, I think it might affect our performance too, because during the exams some questions might come, and maybe we are not treated with that topic. So when it comes, it will be difficult for the student to answer the questions.
It's going to affect us because the school will be scattered. You see students without schedule. Students are going to shout in the class and do a whole lot of things. So it's going to really affect us. And we want them back. We are pleading on the government to do something about it.
It's an examination week, so it will depend on us, the students, to learn on our own.
This teacher, for instance, defied the union's directive to stay out of the classroom.
It's not because I don't want to go on strike. I'm also on strike. But you know, we are with the two tracks, both green and gold tracks. And the green students are in the house and we've covered a lot with them. But these gold students, we've not done a lot with them. So looking at it, I thought it's wise for me to come and help them, at least so that they can catch up with the green students. But I'm not happy I'm teaching. I'm not happy I'm teaching, but we need to do it. Because alongside we have the national service personnel who are also teaching. So if a national service person is in a different class and that person is teaching and you are also there not teaching, it's going to go a long way to help the class. And secondly, also, I also have brothers and sisters in other schools. So I will not be happy if teachers don't go and teach them. So as they're saying, go do unto others as you want it to be done to you. I wake up, I give them money to go to school. I didn't tell them because they are on strike, so they should not go to school. I give them money, especially that somebody will teach them in school. So the same way somebody else also brought a word here. So at least I need to serve them.
The situation is biting hard, and students are the worst affected as they prepare to write their exams. Ifwa Evans Chinwis reports for JoyNews.
So, Daniel Fedu, how do you justify the strike in the face of what we just watched there?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me say good evening to your listeners and thank you for having me this evening. Yes, as a parent myself, when you see things like this, definitely you are not happy. But you see, our work is a sacrificial job. Mm-hmm. You know, in Ghana, for someone to accept to enter into teaching alone, the person has made a lot of sacrifices. But what we have reached, we have gotten to a point that we think there is nothing that we can do than to take this unfortunate option. Why am I saying this? We are talking about arrests that dates back as far back as 2012 to 2016. We have some also from 2017, 2019. That one we have even shelved that one. But our concentration mostly is on those that our members, they have worked, some for 4 years, 48 months and over. The person has worked, has come to school, has borrowed money, has lived virtually at the mercy of people, thinking that at the end of the day, when the salary begins to come, he'll get this money to pay the loans and others that he has contracted. That's not the case. The history to this is that, you know, I started work in the 90s, late 90s, In our time too, when you completed training college then, you were posted to the school, you go and work, sometimes for 2 years before your salary comes. But any time that the salary was paid, it came with all the arrears. And then in 2014, government took a decision that they have seen that there are some fictitious dealings within the IPPD and the GES, so they want to sanitize the system. And as that, if government owes you any arrears, irrespective of the number of months, they'll pay you the first 3 months, and then the subsequent ones, you needed to produce some documentation to enable you to get that. In fact, when the policy came, we resisted as unions, but government is government. They said, yes, we'll go ahead. They went ahead, implemented the policy, and that is what has brought us to where we find ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, but you raised the point about you have no choice, etc. This is going on, but if you look at the facts, as a GES statement quite adequately captures, this affects just a little over 120,000 of your members.
Yes.
The GES says 87,000 of that number have already been paid. That is 95% of the total validated payments.
Yes.
Just 5% of you are affected.
The relative correction is that...
Where is the justification
Yes,
for
the
it?
relative correction is that these 120,000, he himself, that this morning we're in a meeting with the Director General of GES, and he said these were validated, which means that there are others that have not been validated.
But you're disputing this figure?
Well, yes, though we don't have any alternative, but we believe that this figure, there must be some more than what they are talking about.
But you are the man in charge of labor relations. You should know.
I've gone through, before I took over this post, I was the Eastern Regional Secretary. I moved to almost all the districts. And anywhere that you went to, if you met at least 5 teachers, 2 of them will tell you their own arrests.
But even with your own figures, 2 in 5.
Yes, so that
those affected are in a minority.
Minority, but if at least we are talking about percentages, so this minority of, if let's say they said, let's even if they are 30,000 or 3,000 people, if they say they want to embark on an action, is a small action? No. You see, what we are saying is that this one, we have gotten to this because on the 29th of last month, we had a meeting and with the GES, and they told us that the audit service, the process was that the audit service will audit. Then after the auditing, they will send the input to Control Accountant General for payment. Control Accountant General will in turn also give it to their internal audit unit to also verify. After they had done all this, then GES, which will be sent back to GES for GES to authorize for payment. When they had gotten to the process of payment and we went to GES, GES said no, they had detected some anomalies. We said fine. If you had detected anomalies, then out of the number, how many of them have issues? Why don't you take those numbers out and pay the ones that don't have issues? And we give them up to 5th of December. And sometimes it's unfortunate that when unions will meet, you set deadlines, and always the people renege. The members are losing hope in you that you are not
minority of the members.
No, they are.
You are punishing these innocent children we just saw.
No, you see,
because of a minority of teachers
who
have not received salary arrears. They are receiving salaries every month.
Yes, but you see that somebody is unable to concentrate in the classroom because the person is owing. He borrowed money from 2016. And look at even from 2012 to now. The salary then will be how much? Even if the person had 100 CDs, and now 100 CDs in 2012, 100 CDs in 2019, is it the same? The money has devalued. And it looks as if the members are saying that they have lost it. They are not going to get their money because the all effort for them to get the money has fallen on deaf ears.
But that's not true, is it? Because as a leader, the government has done something about it.
Yes, but you see, they have done something, but even it has not come with ease. We have struggled, and that's why we are saying that.
But in negotiations, it's because I'm happy you are the labor relations, in charge of labor relations for the party. In negotiations with government over these matters, you look at good faith. Good faith comes in when government says, okay, this is the number of people I have paid. That's 95% of them. That is good faith.
Even if you don't have good faith, from 2012 to 2019, we wouldn't have gotten here. we have always expressed good faith. As I speak to you now, no media has even heard that we are negotiating our collective bargaining agreement. It's ongoing, but nobody has said we are doing a lot of concessions. We are working together. But sometimes, as I said, it gets to a certain point that you have no option than to go this tangent, because all effort, especially on this particular one, because when we met on the 29th, we made it clear. We even walked out of a meeting once.
Why?
Because what our demands were not being met. And
your demands were the salary area?
Yes, that.
But when, when you say we're not being met,
simple.
How is that when I just put the figures
simple.
there? That
Yes, Ivan, simple.
I'm majority of your members.
Yes, you have paid, but
you say pay everybody.
Yes, say that. We are saying that.
But you live in this economy.
Yes.
You live in this economy.
Yes.
Government cannot just pay everybody. Government is paying you.
And especially government tells you that the money is not a problem.
But the validation, yes.
Yes, the validation has been done.
And the evidence I'm just reading also shows that the unions in various meetings, government has shown you evidence that there are many teachers who were paid under the previous administration who did not deserve to be paid. Yes. In fact, I say close examination of the data indicated the following anomalies, which would have led to an excess payment of about 11 million cedis to teachers who do not deserve.
Even this one, who is supposed to be blamed? Is it the teacher who is teaching in Donkokrom somewhere working, who doesn't know anything? You government, you have a state institution.
So you're blaming the government?
I'm not putting, well, I don't know, I'm not blaming government, but yes, because if the teacher is not, I am there, I'm teaching in my village, you are owing me a arrears of 1,000. And you are not able to look, because if we are getting there, then it's unfortunate, because the reason why we got to the arrest was that there were people who were being overpaid.
Yes.
So if we have gone back, that now pay me 3 months, and I will investigate your documentation to ensure that the right thing is done. Then you go again and pay over 11 million Ghana. Then I don't understand. I find it very difficult to understand. And that is where we got here, because we said you are validated. When you did your rounds, you have seen that there were some anomalies. What we're saying is that, fine, if you have, say, validated 100 people, out of these 100, 20 of them have no issues. Why don't you pay the 20 and leave the 80? Then you work.
But isn't that what they've done? They paid 95% of you.
Those were the previous ones. But this particular one that we are talking about.
How many constitute those who have not been paid?
This morning, the figures they gave us, we saw was that they said they have 8,847.
Yes,
and
which is what they have, 1,847.
Out of these 1,847, according to them, 1,200 had no issues, and 600, a little over 600 had issues.
So we are on strike because of yours, because of 600 people?
Yes. Why? They are very important to us.
So unfair to the
it is very, very
and they
fair.
have exams to write from
Yes,
tomorrow.
It's very fair, Evans, because
of 600 teachers.
And see, that's
we
what
have
I'm saying.
Hundreds and
that's what I'm
hundreds
saying
of thousands
that's
of
what I'm saying. The
country.
issues are so many, but this is the one that has come. But even the arrests, I told you that they themselves will tell you that there are over 11,000. That's between 2017 and 2019. We're also waiting. But for now, we are talking about this. See, what has even made the situation worse was that, yes, you said 1,002 don't have problem. If the 1,002 does not have a problem, why wouldn't you pay the 1,002? Then you take your time to resolve the problem.
Let me go to the ranking member on the Education Committee in Parliament, Mr. Peter Nochu, joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Nochu, thank you for your time here on PM Express.
Thank you, Evans. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. In the studio with me is the Deputy General Secretary of NAT, in charge of labor relations and also administration. He's in the person of Daniel Afedu. Let me ask you this. I mean, I've just been reading the GES statement on this, and they catalog a series of, I guess, major errors that was done in 2012 all the way to 2014 in terms of how teachers are paid. That led to the problem. That's the genesis of the problem. To the extent that teachers were hired without financial clearance, a lot of anomalies were detected. Teachers were overpaid significantly for a long time, who didn't deserve to be paid that amount. In fact, there's one case in which they say that one teacher, for example, paid sums of 58,000 Ghana cedis. I mean, this is a government that, of course, it was your government then. You are the ranking member now, spokesperson on education. That is the source of the problem that this government is trying to fix. How did that happen? That the taxpayers' money was used in that manner, creating a situation where now the teachers are unhappy that because of validation, to fix the problem that was created in the past, he has delayed and they're on strike.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to you. The issue is about the legacy arrears which got accumulated between 2012 and 2016. And that came about as a result of recruitment of teaching and non-teaching staff, promotion arrears and responsibility allowances, all put together. And I remember very well that a roadmap was put in place to make sure that from 2017, the arrears will be paid, or the remaining arrears will be paid after they had detected some anomalies. I think as overpaying some people. Overpayment of salaries normally happens because of the system. And when that is realized or discovered, it is immediately reversed. So it is not a regular occurrence that every time somebody is overpaid. But the point is that at the time of even crediting the salary, probably at the controller, did they take into account how somebody will earn arrears of 58,000 for maybe 10 months or 5 months or 12 months? They could have done that verification very well. And if that was not done, then it's an error on the part of those who were doing the computation. Yeah, and as I was saying, those who were employed, and if the GS said that they were employed without clearance from the Ministry of Finance, I disagree with them. I remember very well that any recruitment that is made, clearance must be sought from Ministry of Finance.
But that wasn't done.
Year.
But this wasn't done in this case.
Yeah, so it's done against the ensuing year. So I know very well that like teachers who complete colleges of education, if they are 10,000 or 8,000, the Ministry of Education will apply to Ministry of Finance to make provision for them in the coming budget so that they could be employed or given a salary status. Yeah. Now, so the roadmap was agreed that from 2017, the arrears will be paid, and a number of verification exercises were to take place. They had almost completed that in 2016 when NDC lost power and handed over to the MPP. And I know very well that the teacher unions continued with the negotiations with the current Minister of Education. And there was a roadmap. They agreed on a period within which to pay the teachers' arrears. So that also did not work very well. So there was a breach in the agreement by the Ministry of Education in the payment of the arrears. And I think it is that delay that caused the strike which they have now embarked.
No, but Mr. Notu, if I read the GA statement, it says that they also found, as they used to talk about the roadmap that was supposed to be implemented from 2017, they went into it and they still found significant anomalies. Anomalies and the controller. Yeah.
Of anomalies, you can run away from it.
Yeah, but
the number that was involved was high.
Yeah, but that's the point. That is the point. That's the point I'm making, Mr. Notu. That these the errors that had piled up since 2012 in 2016 made it impossible to just pay the teachers with the roadmap you said was in place, because if we had done so, we would have probably lost taxpayers' funds in the process. And I just see here, for example, that we would have paid in excess of 11 million cedis to teachers who simply do not deserve it. And that's a process that should have been done, and it's been done, and so that the taxpayers' money is saved. This is a problem that was bequeathed this current administration.
Yeah, if that problem was bequeathed to them, and once you get into office and you know that there is a roadmap, just make sure that you go by the roadmap and quickly accelerate the verification process so that the people can be paid within the agreed time. That there were anomalies, fine, I agree, because the numbers are large. Some have even left their positions to other employments. So once you do that verification, it should not take even more than 1 year to complete it, and then agree with the teacher unions on a timetable for payment, which they had done even up to October this year, when the president even ordered that they should put the gift means aside and then use the normal or the old system to pay them. So it's just unfortunate that the ministry had not kept word by making sure that they were paid in time. So we don't have to say that because
the committee
the previous government didn't pay them, that's why this mess or this situation has arisen.
Is the education committee looking into this at all?
Well, we got the information on Thursday evening, around this time when we were closing from education committee meeting. But because none of the ministers or deputy ministers was around to give us a feedback, we couldn't get any information. And you know, Friday was a holiday. Tomorrow, the committee is presenting its motion on the sector budget, and I know that that issue will come out for discussion on the floor of the House tomorrow.
Okay, I'm grateful that you joined us there. So the Parliament is going to look into this. At least it's getting somewhere. Have you had any meetings since the strike call? Has there been any movement so far? I'm told today there was a meeting.
Yes, this morning we had a meeting with the Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, with the GS Director General, some controller staff. In fact, let me say that we had some discussions, but we couldn't reach any agreement. Yes.
Were you happy with the outcome, though?
I wouldn't say I was very happy. I would have been happier if we had gotten, they had told us that, tell your teachers to go back to school tomorrow, the money will hit their account.
Okay, but in the meantime, you've been accused of political sabotage. I want to listen to the spokesperson to the Education Ministry, Mr. Vincent Ekwasafwa, who on the same network a few hours back make the allegations against NAT, NAGRAT, and the Concerned Teachers Association on this matter.
Feel that there is a clandestine agenda by some leaders of the teacher unions. There's a clear sabotage.
What's the evidence?
You see, I wish I had printed this letter that was written by NAT to the NDC General Secretary. The letter, I have seen two letters. In fact, the latter was a letter that was cancelling an appointment that they've had with the former, let me say, the former president, that's the NDC flag bearer and the general secretary and what have you. As to what was supposed to be discussed, it was not part of the letter, so we may not know. In the absence of content, in the absence of issues, in the absence of substance, that teacher unions are supposed to base on and call for a strike, then there should be a motivation from somewhere that you and I cannot really pinpoint our hands to.
So you're making this accusation without any basis?
I'm telling you that there is no content in what they have given out, the basis to which they are calling for a strike. Because if you are saying that out of solidarity, the poor child whose parents left in school should be there and rot without being taught, and you are there just saying that out of solidarity. On top of it, you've called for a strike that is illegal, that you never followed the laid down procedures as far as the Labour Commission is concerned. There has been a meeting, one, at the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, and I'm sure that in no time you'll hear from either the GES formally on that matter. And secondly, I know that there were also some informal engagement with Molinaga today by the Minister of Education on the matter. But let me state that where we have gotten to, we need the commitment of teacher unions. I'm saying this because for the past few weeks, they have shown that lack of commitment in resolving this matter. And I'll tell you why. You don't walk into a meeting at the Ministry of Employment and Labor and walk out of that meeting and tell me or suggest to me that indeed there was that good faith in resolving the matter. That is number one. Number two, you also can't tell me that you had that good faith in resolving this matter if you have a meeting with the Ghana Education Service on the 2nd of December, agree to recommendations that came from the management of the Ghana Education Service, that the data from the Controller and Accountant General Department that were given to the management of GES were having some anomalies, and for that matter, we should be able to vet it. If you agree in that meeting and further agree that by the end of this year, we should be paying those arrears to you, only for you 3 days after to go and call for a strike. Obviously, there is a clear lack of commitment on the part of the teacher union.
Your reaction to that?
Thank you, sir. You see, when there are issues and we take certain positions like that, you at one point, you want the issue resolved. At another point, you are accusing us of, please, this NDC thing, let me talk about it. You see, as a political party, we are all in this country, we heard that they are writing to institutions, organizations to visit them, to solicit views to. So I just moved to this office just last week. When I came out, I was in one of our meetings, it was mentioned that they had received invitation from NDC way back, I think 17th or so last month. And
you had written to NDC?
No, NDC had written that they want to come and meet NAT to, as it were, discuss issues. So at that meeting, we said that the time was not appropriate for that. As we speak now, tomorrow, this week, we're having our national officers mission, national executive meeting, and next we'll go to council. So it's a very busy time for us that we cannot have that meeting with the NEC. But this salary issue thing that we are talking about, we started way back, and this particular one, in August this year we met. And the agreement was that this, after paying October salaries within November, they are going to pay, this particular one we are talking about, they are going to pay all to the teachers. And then the second one is 11,000 that date back between 2017 and 2019. That will also be paid after December salaries. So these two things, they cannot be related in any way. We as a
you explained the NDC thing.
Yes, so the NDC thing, that was it. So if they have rated, so we wrote to them that your meeting, that they had proposed a date. We told them that these dates that you have proposed, it will not be possible, feasible for the union to meet you. So we ourselves also put our house in order. When we are ready to meet you, we invite you and you come. And this is not something secret. It would have been open to everybody. The former president says he's coming again. He's coming. But we, as a political, as a trade union, teacher union, we engaged them. I think in 2012 or so, during the campaign, we gave a platform to all the political parties. They came to us that we should come and share your manifesto on education with us. They did that. So it is just normal thing that we do. So it is independent of this issue that we are talking about. Our mission, one of our mission statement, we are non-partisan, because the people that we lead, they cut across the political divide. So it will be very difficult for any leader to say that I am taking a decision to sway the union to one particular side.
The accusation is that this is part of a clandestine plot to make the
it cannot be. It cannot be, because
I mean, the follow-up question there will be, this started in 2012.
Yes.
Why now?
2012 and as if you heard
7 years.
Yes, you heard
you
heard a parliamentarian speaking. He said there had been a roadmap, and you know this has been threats of strike. Even you in your intro even said that this is the first time the three unions have come together. And you know, NAGRAT and CCT, they had gone on several threats of strike. We ourselves, once in a while, we had come in. It is not now. It is something we have struggled. We have demonstrated so much commitment to this. Anytime they called us, okay, we are meeting. Our members charge. They will go to meetings and they insult you virtually. You are there, you are chopping our money, you are not doing anything for us. Fine. But we come and government explains the issues, we understand, then we go. But we have seen that for this time, 7 years, Evans, 100 cedis 2012. Is the same 100 cedis 2019 with inflation and all the things. So we are saying that, fine, you have done it. Just pay this.
So you have no agenda to make the government unpopular?
Never. Government pays the teachers. Government, we as a teacher union, we are employee of governments, not succeeding governments. Whatever government that comes to power, we work with them. So it will be suicidal for any union responsible, especially in this our system, to say that you are aligning to one political party. You can't even stay. So what we are saying is that, and even your own members, you lose members. If I am a strong believer of MPP, and I see that my leader is shifting me to another ideology, say, and I'll just.
Did you meet the president? Did the union meet the president?
Dana Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
We
on these concerns you had.
No, we have not. I think February, early part of this year, we had a program at our place. He came. Then our president told him, she said, that Madam Philippa, to Mr. President, we have only one request. Our request is that we have a rest for our members. Just do that, pay that for us. And the president made a commitment that by the end of March, he will make sure that every arrest is paid. And March, we are in December. I think even this one, I don't want to mention them, but one of the ministers was making reference to the fact that he even didn't want to disgrace the president. You mean the president has made a commitment and they have not been able to live up to that. So the president is aware, and per that pronouncement, he shared our sentiment. So it is about the people who have to work on it that we have followed this. At a point, we followed this to side to do the validation with all this service. Our union leaders, we were with them to 3 places. So we have worked. We have come from too far for anybody to say that we want to sabotage government. We will sabotage it not today. We have started this from 2017, and we have worked together always, making a lot of sacrifices and compromises.
He talks about good faith. The government has shown good. Would you admit the government has shown good faith? At least in the last 1 year.
In the last good faith, yeah. But you see, I wouldn't want
yes
to say.
Yes or no?
It's difficult to hear.
Why?
Because with this kind of pronouncement that is coming, you wouldn't say that if you are negotiating.
No, but the pronouncement is coming because they believe they've shown good faith and you haven't.
We have also shown more than good faith. We have shown more than good faith.
Well, what's your
because
good faith?
we wouldn't. Oh, if we have not shown good faith, we wouldn't have gotten here. We would have laid down our tools somewhere earlier, even this year. So anytime we went and we spoke, we agreed. We went and spoke to our members. The members are not happy, but we have always told them that please exercise patience. We are working hard to ensure that you get your arrest. We have also shown more than good faith. And you see, these are comments that wouldn't want to help our going forward.
But you admit government has shown some good faith.
Of course, yes, and we have also shown good faith.
Yeah, but if government has showed good faith, why do you punishing government with a strike?
We are not punishing government.
Is a strike a reward for the good faith?
No. You can't say that.
But they've shown good faith.
You see, we have shown even more. If we want to put it on in numbers, if they have shown 50, we have shown about 80.
No, but in labor negotiations,
yes,
if the other party of the table, which in this case happens to be the government,
yes,
shows good faith,
yes,
do you still go ahead and strike?
We have always shown good faith. What may I say? This particular case, they haven't shown good faith.
But you said they have.
No, you said from the past years. You said the past 1 year. They have shown good faith, but for the past few days they haven't. That is what has led us this way.
What difference has that made?
The difference is that you said that, yes, I have done the work, pay the people. You said some have problems. You said, okay, fine. If some have problems, take that one, the problems out, and pay those that don't have problems. So if you are not able to do this, are you showing good faith?
But it's about the money. having the money available.
And they said the money is there.
Who told you this?
We have reliable information that the money is there. When you talk, they said that the issue is not about money, because they are talking about just
what about the fact that before the monies are paid, it goes to a government system?
Yes. So
and that has to be checked so that you make sure that the problems in the past where people were paid salaries that they didn't deserve, these things are resolved.
And even if you listen to earlier when I said that normally the old ones, the previous ones that were paid, what was happening was that the Auditor General does the auditing. As soon as their verification, as soon as they are done, they bring it to controller. Controller also gives it to their internal audit unit to also do further checks. Once they are done, they pay. But this time, they said the previous one, after the control audit did the work, they realized that they had detected some anomalies, so they sent it back to GES for verification. And this is what they did this time. We don't have any problem. We are not saying that if there are problems, pay. No. All that we said was that, yes, you have done the work. GES, you said you have detected anomalies. We don't have any problem. Why don't you take out those that had those anomalies and pay the ones?
Let's address the legality of the strike. He says that your strike is illegal.
Fine.
Have you agree it's illegal?
Well, I won't say it is illegal. We are following the process.
You haven't followed the process.
Yes, we will not say that we are in it. This morning we have received a letter from Labour Commission that we should come. We will go and listen to them what they want to have with us. You see, we sometimes we don't want to get into these issues because
we're a country of laws.
Yes, we are.
And the laws governing industrial action. You have not followed the laws.
And even if you look at,
if
you follow Ghana National Association of Teachers and the teacher, especially Ghana National Association, where I belong to, we have always abide by the rules.
But I'm talking about
you see, when you
this time you have not.
When at least the intention to strike was there, and what did they do?
No, but it's not about the intention to strike.
Yes.
The law specifies what exactly you have to do.
Yes. So
if you want to strike, you haven't followed that law.
Yes. So we are in it. We will get there.
No, but you have broken the law with impunity.
We haven't broken the law with impunity because you see.
But have you followed? You are the man in charge of labor relations,
yes,
and so you should know what the labor laws say.
We know.
The labor laws specify
yes,
the processes.
Yes.
Have you followed that process?
We are in the process. We are in the process.
So you haven't followed.
We are in the process.
But that's my point. You are in the process. But you've already called the strike. That is illegal.
Yes, it's not, you can't call it. You see the law itself. If you really want to look at the law as it is, it's fine. But we are. That's why the Labour Commission has invited us. When we go tomorrow, we will listen to them.
So tomorrow you're appearing before the Labour Commission?
Yes. Well, they have invited us. The letter is there. Well, we'll look at our schedule if it is possible for us to meet them. We'll meet.
So you're saying that you're not even going to, it's honoring that invitation is dependent on whether it suits your schedule?
No, not that. Yes, they have invited, it's a state institute, we are a law-abiding union. We will go and listen to what they have for us.
I want to take a quick break. When I return, we would examine, so what would it take to get the teachers back into the classrooms? And then also we'll look at students are beginning their end of terms exam. So what do they expect the students to do? I'm sure he's a father. I mean, so we saw a teacher there say he just simply cannot bear to stand that, children who look just like his brothers and sisters will go to school and not get taught. I mean, what is the NAGRA's response to that? And then the bigger question, why do we always keep circling back to teacher strike? Well, in the past, it used to be NAGRA striking or concerned teachers or not alone. But this time, all three together. How can we break this cycle once and for all? Stay with us. You're still live on PM Express tonight. My guest in the studio is Daniel Afedu. He's a Deputy General Secretary, NAT. He's in charge of Administration and Labor Relations. LA Head, the spokesperson for the Education Ministry, Vincent Ekwasafwa. Also, you had the ranking member on the Education Committee in Parliament, who also joined us with his views on this. So what will it take to get the teachers back to the classroom?
Oh, what will get the teachers to go back to the classroom is to have their arrears paid. You know, this
all
evening,
of it?
Yes. This evening you
yes.
spoke to my president, and the president, you see, even the numbers don't match. She even said, even if it's only one person that we own arrest, let's pay.
But you're not going to the classroom anytime soon.
Well, no, the government is a listing government.
So you're saying that until the last teacher is paid,
yes,
you're not going to the classroom?
The government is a listening government. They have done a lot for education, and we know that this simple thing, they will not sit down for it to disrupt the academic calendar for the basic.
So you're not even willing to take an assurance from the government that they'll pay?
I see. I'm not a final decision maker, so when we get to that bridge, we'll cross.
What would it take? Do you have to hold another conference? How do you?
Oh, we represent. We have a national executive. Thank God. This week we'll have national officers, national executive meeting.
When?
So that will be on Thursday and Friday. So we are praying that if tomorrow or any time that they call us and they put a proposal on the table, we'll go back to our principals. That's the national executive.
Did you choose this time deliberately to go on
no,
strike?
Never. We didn't.
So it was a coincidence that this happened.
It's just a mere coincidence because
you expect parents and myself to believe that this was just a mere coincidence.
It's a mere coincidence because I guess we met and we agreed. By then nobody was even talking about strike because we have always agreed that we're going to pay some of the arrears after October salary. When they have finished paying everybody October salary, they will run a supplementary PV to pay the arrears, the legacy, the 2012-2016 one. Then after November salary, they will pay the 2017-2019. This is what we agreed far back in August. So we were fine. 29th November, we had a meeting. Before even 29th November, between 24th and 27th, we were negotiating somewhere, and somebody whispered into our ears that the figures were ready and that they were going to pay. Only to hear that they said there were some anomalies. Oh, okay. So anomalies. So what do we do? Do we drop those with the anomalies and pay the ones that had no issues? Then we heard that they said no, they are suspending everything. Then we felt that they are not treating the teachers.
So for we saw a teacher in Accra High say,
yes,
he can't bear to stand the teachers, the children, stuff like that.
Myself, I'm a very busy person. My wife is a very busy person. We have a small child who goes to kindergarten, public kindergarten.
So do you have a teacher in class?
Yes.
And you're happy with that?
I'm not happy, but I have no option.
You have an option.
I don't have any option.
You have an option to go to school whilst you negotiate.
I don't take that decision alone. This is a collective decision that.
But as a person, as a leader, you made that decision.
Yes. So as I said earlier,
that will lead to your little child suffering.
Yes. Yes.
What about the thousands of students?
That is the unfortunate job that we have chosen. Anytime that.
What about the innocent ones in the classroom?
You see, the challenge of the teaching job is that, and that is what we have always sacrificed, because the child that you teach, the mother has nothing to do when it comes to negotiating your salary. The father has nothing to do when it comes to talking about your condition of service and working conditions. But then, the person who has taken it to do that on their behalf, when they renege, and then you are pushed to the wall, you have no option than to go that.
So, I'm asking a specific question. So, in your school, you're a teacher yourself, right?
Yeah, but for now, I'm doing full-time to union.
There are many schools where exams will start tomorrow. For some of them, started already.
Yes.
What should these children do?
We as teachers, anytime.
You don't care?
We care so much. That's a teacher. If I would wish that I go and conduct my exams and score my papers and prepare
my question is direct. The children tomorrow are supposed to start their papers. they won't have teachers in the classroom because you and others at the leadership say strike.
Yes.
So you don't care?
They themselves, the teacher whose arrears has not been paid for so many years, wouldn't even be happy to go to school.
Yeah, that's the teacher. I'm talking about the children.
Yes, but the teacher and the children, they are the same.
No,
the teacher's action affects the children.
Yeah, exactly. Your action is going to lead to
so
many of these children not able to write their end of term exams.
That comes back to the point I made that unfortunately some innocent people have to suffer because who has to come in to speak for them has not been able to do that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel Afedu, who is the Deputy General Secretary of NATEN, is in charge of administration and also labor relations. And that's it for PM Express tonight. Well, as they go into the Labor Commission meeting tomorrow, we'll see if anything positive comes out of that. And they say government has already also started engaging them as well. Hopefully, for the sake of these young, innocent children, well, some resolution will be reached as soon as possible, so that the children can start writing their end of term exam before Christmas, by the way. Enjoy the rest of your evening.